So once again, it is Sunday. We did 0 video yesterday, but we did quite a bit of stuff. Some on the Civic, some not. Dude, it was such nice weather. We were hanging out outside, realized there was a bunch of guys doing some race car stuff, and they needed a little bit of help with some Holley trans brake stuff, so spent a little bit of time helping them out, watching them do burnouts and testing out launch control and stuff. So, but we did come back to the Civic, and we'll go through what we did yesterday and what we plan on doing today. But do me a huge favor, and if you haven't already, click subscribe and the little bell for notifications. We go live every Friday, either some kind of live session, just hanging out, or what it's been recently has been I'm tuning cars on the dyno. So what we did yesterday was mainly body stuff. I know that sounds a little bit weird, but we really needed to get the upper radiator support in its permanent position. We had to cut it off. We wanted to make it removable. It was originally welded, there was some tabs welded in, and so it was permanent even though the outer sides were bolted. So we cut those tabs and made them boltable. So we had to use one thread insert. We were lucky there was already a threaded hole on the other side. So it wasn't too bad. Welded those plates on, and so now it's removable. We have these little supports here that we actually welded on. The bolt goes through there and ties into the body, and then we got the normal bolt points over here. This goes on there, fender goes on top of it, and then it bolts down. So that's kind of how we expect this to go if we ever need to take the motor out. I mean, it's literally just taking that upper radiator support off, taking the radiator out, dropping the lower cross member there, and yeah, we can pull it out forward. So, I mean, even if we are only able to jack it up this high, we should be able to get to everything and pull the motor out forward. That's kind of our vision as far as maintenance goes. Hopefully we don't have to take the motor out very often. That would be ideal, but you always want to prepare for the worst, I guess. One of the other things that I did want to cover today, oh, actually, I just realized we put these little mounts in there too for the fenders. That was the other body thing that we were doing. So fender goes under this, and the bumper goes right up against the fender, and then we put a bolt through this, and that ties those together, and this is nice and sturdy. So that way, you know, when the bumper is getting pulled down or whatever, as we're going mile an hour, we have some decent structure back in there. Normally there is a mount here, but this car was very much race car'd out. And so they had a custom one that went to a wide front end, but since we're not using the wide front end anymore, we had to basically remake our own. So got those two things out of the way. Our front bumper did come. I'll show you all of it together. Hood meets up pretty good. We're not exactly body experts, so it's not the prettiest thing in the world, but I think it turned out pretty good. By the way, don't look at any of the welds because I did them, so.
They look just as good as Hayden, so what you talking about?
There you go, Hayden. You're talking shit. Okay, so the other thing that I wanted to show was some, especially with the wheel off, it's easier to see the steering setup. Probably going to put some support in 2 places. It's going to be a small radius rod. It doesn't have to be very big because of the way the force is going to be applied to these things. But we're probably going to put a support from up here on this rod down to the block. So we'll probably weld 2 tabs here, weld 2 tabs here, and then have a radius rod that goes between those 2. It'll have to be adjustable, obviously, in case we have to adjust the rod here, which at some point we will. Same thing over here, is we're going to put a radius rod from here to here. So we're going to weld a little collar on this thing to make it thicker so that we can get 2 tabs on there pretty good. And then 2 tabs over here and a radius rod between them. Also has to be adjustable because we may use this for adjustment. Now this is going to become like kind of a rough means of adjustment, because now we're going to have those tabs and they're always in one place. So the only adjustment that we can do on here are coarse adjustments, or we can make a full turn because those tabs are going to have to go back to the same point every time. So I'm sure there's a better way to do this. A couple of you guys have suggested some other things to do. We want to kind of keep this for a while and just see how it goes, but I want to put that bracing in there so that we don't have a whole lot of, or so that we don't have any flex. We're using pretty beefy stuff, but I'm still just worried about the force being transferred such a decently long distance, and so we're just going to put those bracing in there to triangulate that force, and hopefully it works out pretty good. In the future we'll probably try a different method, but I think we're going to stick with this, just putting in some bracing and see how it goes. All right, so we're going to put the cross member on and get the bumper and the fenders on just to show you, I guess, how that all goes together. We're still waiting. I need a wrench, like a spanner wrench, to raise the suspension, because we got the correct springs in there, but I need to be able to raise it up, and it's too hard to do by hand now that we have the heavier spring in there. So we need one of those wrenches. It's supposed to show up yesterday. We'll have to check the mailbox and see if that actually showed up on a Saturday. And that way we can actually put it on the ground at the correct ride height with all the body panels on. So, but for now, we'll put all the body panels on and show you how the lines hopefully worked out decent. All right, so bumper and fenders are on. Oh wait, put the hood down real quick. Just want to show them that real quick. Look at that, even fits an extra wastegate just hanging out in there. Yeah. So everything actually turned out to be pretty good gaps and whatnot. I mean, we aren't body people, but I think it does all right. The only problem with this is it's kind of a cheap bumper, and so the fitment isn't the greatest. It's got like a little, kind of comes up right there because we're straining the bumper to attach to those brackets that we had in there. Meets up with the fenders, but I mean, the bumper's just not shaped all that great. So Tanya's heating that up right now. We're gonna try to maybe coax it to do what we want it to do. If not, we'll have to live with the little bulge there, but hopefully we can get it to cooperate. And then Hayden is working on the wastegate entries. So he's gonna fiddle with that. I gotta go mess with the Falcon real quick, and yeah, we'll show you how it turns out. Alright, so I updated the firmware in the Falcon. The Holly technicians told us to try that first because we were thinking it might have been a bad ECU. Pretty sure that fixed everything. We left it idling for a while. I'm going to go take it for a drive here in a bit, but left it idling for probably, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes, half an hour or something like that. And before, it was screwing up way before that. So no weird values, twitching on the dash or anything like that. So I think we're good to go on it, but we'll take it for a drive one more time and see how it goes. Worst case scenario, we send it back to Holly. They said they'll fix it for us, no problem. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. As far as the Civic goes, we had to take all the panels back off because I don't have, the spanner wrench didn't come in, so I'm not able to raise up the suspension. And the fenders are hitting. We don't have them rolled yet, so it's not gonna actually fit with it sitting as low as it is right now. It's about 1.5 inches too low. The other thing that I was thinking about doing is I know these springs will work if we just like raise it up with a wrench. But I think I might make it easier on ourselves and just get a 12-inch spring instead of a 10-inch spring. So 12-inch spring will bring it up 2 inches, and then we can lower it down 1/2 inch. So might end up doing that, but either way, all the body panels are fit and nice now. But we just can't put it all the way down yet with these tires on. We're also probably gonna have to clearance the bumper a little bit, so we'll see how that goes. Hayden's got the gates going on right now. So this first one, he's got all done up. So that's gonna be the position of the gate. The other one's gonna be in a slightly different position, but it's gonna be honestly pretty symmetrical considering all of the differences between the two sides. So I think he just wrapped up that one. He's waiting for it to cool down and everything. But yeah, should turn out pretty cool. There's a little bit of a weird mistake with the downpipe flanges. They don't actually fit, but I think they're going to work still. We'll see how that goes, I guess. All right, so I forgot to show this coil setup that we got. We just used the ICT, like universal remote mount coil setup. Can't remember how much it was, but it's actually pretty nifty. Brings all of the coils nice and close together, and it's just like a universal mount setup, so you can put it wherever you want. I have it, I think what we're gonna end up doing is putting a plate on the cradle and then mounting this to the plate and just mocking it up there real quick. It actually looks like it'll reach with all of the stock spark plug lengths. So hopefully we'll be able to use that. If we position it just right, it should be able to go on all of the plugs, which is crazy convenient. Worst case scenario, we'll get some custom plug wires, but I think the stock plug wires will work if we put it in the right place. So pretty cool, nifty little setup.
Say bye, Hayden. Adios.
That means bye.
Next week the R7 will drive.
Oh, getting the RX-7 going. Dude, he has been hammering this thing out. He's got the whole rear end out right now, but that was to wrap up all the stuff that he was doing. So this goes back in. He's got some fuel stuff to do. What else you got?
Oh, fuck, I forgot about that actually. Maybe not.
I mean, you gonna wrap up the tubs and everything, or do you want to do the fuel system and then be able
I
to
was
go for
gonna
drive?
wrap up all the tubs and then I forgot about the fuel system.
I say do fuel
'Cause I
system
thought,
and
like, I
leave
was gonna
wrapping
have
up the
the
tubs
dude-
for later.
I was gonna have the dude do my drive shaft, and I was like, oh, once I do the drive shaft, I can just wire it back up and then start it.
Oh, yeah.
But I forgot about the fuel system.
Did you have to get your drive shaft edited or no? It's good for this length.
I think since like this front pinion, this thing like is deeper overall. So I think all I'm gonna have to have him do is like maybe trim it a little bit, or I might end up being okay and just having him swap out the flanges.
I'm sure there'll be some kind of progress, so look for that video.
Or well, I guess either way, it'll be where it'll have like the rear axle on it for the final time, and then everything after that is just like field stuff, brake lines, and then front stuff.
There we go. Close, very close. Burnout soon. We're gonna be going to, they have this little event in Greeley, so it's actually right around the corner, I think. I was looking at the address, I'm not sure, but it looked like it was gonna be pretty close by. So we might bring the truck up for that. That's in 2 weeks, I think. So, yeah, so we got some time. Maybe you can get the RX-7 going, do the truck and the RX-7.
That'd be cool.
But yeah, we're gonna go out and just have a little bit of a good time.
I'm gonna put the tune-up in it. And
Yours?
Yes.
Okay. I'll be sure to be on hard tire so that we can make that true.
I'll put the tune in it. I'll upload the tune.
Yeah.
I'll feel like that dude did. Find that 427 tune.
Yeah.
And just copy paste that bitch.
There you go. And just apply, learn, apply, learn.
Yeah.
All right, guys, so that's actually probably it for this one. Both of the manifolds are done, but we're gonna wait to put that one on over there. We gotta get going, but we should be able to have the downpipe material here next week, so we'll be able to do that, which will be super fun. That's why we really wanted to get the fenders mounted, so we know where what they were going to be, so then we can do the exits out the fender. It's gonna have 2 fender exits, so we'll get to that next weekend, and I don't know, hopefully we get some intercooler stuff, so maybe we can start doing that as well. We'll keep working on all of the small stuff, but we might also get the rear end next week, so not too sure which direction we're gonna go. We're getting to a point where we have a lot that we can do, so we get pretty busy here. Not that it hasn't been already. Hayden hammered out both of those manifolds, are both of the wastegate entries for the manifolds. So, and then we got all the body stuff going. Pretty happy with the progress. As always, like, share, and subscribe, and hit the notification so you see when we go live. The little bell next to the subscribe button. And yeah, we'll see you guys next time.